the peace and love. Let's get into it. All right. Thank you guys for joining. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America, and God bless the world. So the first and only story of the day is about the Facebook and Instagram bannings. We're going to cover every angle of it. I'm going to talk about who got banned, why they got banned, supposedly, why I think it's backfiring. And that's what I want to say before I get into anything is liberals and tech company people, celebrities, even progressives, I don't know, whatever you want to call yourself, not just conservatives and libertarians. Please listen to what I say this entire time, because what you're doing with this type of behavior and all the behavior of the mass media is you're growing the right wing. The right wing's growing in Spain. They just had record high elections where they're in parliament for the first time in a while. Canada, every territory in Canada is going right wing. President Trump won. Bolsonaro in Brazil. The whole world is shifting right wing, and it's basic psychology of how you guys are failing. So please listen to me, because you're not only emboldening the normal right wing all over the world, but you're actually emboldening the far, far right and the hate groups and the extremists, which do exist in every community. You're actually growing them exponentially. And then you're like, why are they growing? Oh my goodness, we banned Paul Joseph Watson from the Facebooks. How? Listen, for once in your life, just stop talking, stop just babbling on CNN and MSNBC and on these talk shows where no one else is invited to and you blacklist them. Listen to what I'm saying, please. Okay, so why is the far right growing? It's very similar to the normal moderate right. So basic psychology says if you take a bunch of people and you keep calling them a name, you're gonna grow what it is. So for example, before we get to the far right, the regular right wing, they say, Anomaly, you're right wing. Even when I was more liberal, and they say, Jimmy Dore, who's a progressive, if he says something honest, they're like, you're right wing. So if you call everyone right wing, and then you're like, why is the right wing growing? Well, you're calling 90% of the population, 60, 70% of the population right wing all the time. And then why is it, if I keep calling people, basketball players every day, and I'm like, why are they playing basketball? Well, you're like, Anomaly, you told me to play basketball for 5 years, and I just started playing. You're growing the right wing, the normal moderate right, you're growing exponentially. So for that, I guess conservatives would thank you for being so ridiculously, awful with your strategy. But it's the same psychology to far right. If you call everybody far right, it's going to grow because you're calling it, you're growing it, just basic psychology. So what is the far right? This is what I want to get into, and we're going to talk about Farrakhan. We're going to talk about Paul Joseph, Laura Loomer, Milo, Infowars, Paul Nealon, who I just found out about today. We're doing a deep dive, and a lot of people aren't going to like it. So what is far right? Let's try to figure out what far right is, because they're banning people left and right for far right. So I got 5 definitions here of what it's considered. I don't know anymore. The first one is what I think the normal definition probably was at a certain point. When it comes to the government, far right would be anarchy, which is like far libertarianism. No laws, complete total freedom, no taxes. That's what anarchy is. You go all the way left and you have bigger government, more power. So on a scale of in economics, right wing, far right would truly be anarchy. And if anybody's ever not had a job and had too much free time, sometimes you realize too much freedom is not good. I'm not an anarchist for that reason, but I am more libertarian leaning. So that's what far right should be, but they've demonized the term far right to mean something other than your Ron Pauls and Rand Pauls. So what do they say it is? They say sometimes it's white supremacists. So if you're a white supremacist, you think white people are supreme, you're far right. But where they get mixed up is also they call Laura Loomer and Milo far right, and they're Jewish. So, you can't be a white supremacist. They call people who are anti-Zionists far right now. So not even if you dislike Jewish or Israel, if you're just opposed to Zionism, they say anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, is far right. So if that's far right, and white supremacy is far right, then how in the world is a gay Jewish man, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Laura Loomer, Israeli, self-proclaimed on her Instagram, Israeli nationalist, you can't have both. So you're not making any sense. And the 5th definition I have is anyone who doesn't want to vote for establishment Democrats. So it's went from anarchy to white supremacy to anti-Zionism to Jewish people who are pro-Zionism but just don't agree with liberals to literally anyone who doesn't like the Democratic Party, and then you're confused why the far right's growing. It's because you're lying about it. You're calling everyone far right, and you don't have an actual definition. You're like moving the goalposts. It's like the Mueller report. It's like, we're going to wait for the Mueller report. Then the Mueller report comes through and they're like, well, we waited for it, but now we're going to do, like, you don't have an actual definition of the far right. There is none. It should be anarchy. You've lied about it for the last year and you keep going further and further and further. What is it? White supremacy, anti-Zionism, Jewish people, anyone who doesn't vote Democrat? Figure out what the heck you mean by far right. And let's get into the hypocrisy. So on this list of far right wing, first one we'll talk about is Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan, first of all, is not far right. He's a minister, and I'm going to do a very fair appraisal of Farrakhan. It's probably going to bother people. He's the leader, or one of the leaders, a minister in the Nation of Islam. He has way more Democrat friends than he does Republican. He's the furthest thing from far right. So they're labeling a leader of the Nation of Islam who has more Democrat friends as far right. Meanwhile, they have Jewish people in that same category who are the complete opposite. They call out Islam. He calls out Judaism. You know, they have more Republican friends. He has more Democrat friends. It doesn't make any sense. Louis Farrakhan is not far right by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm reading all the news articles. Washington Post, Verge, they're all trying to call him far right. They said that the biggest two shocking things that stood out with Farrakhan were his anti-homophobic, and anti-Semitism. So first of all, when it comes to the LGBT community and gay and homophobia, I'm all for love, peace, and prosperity, but here's something that liberals need to understand. You love Islam. Liberals are obsessed with Islam. That's fine. I think it's like 2 billion people or maybe more are Islamic. Most Islamic countries, majority Islamic countries, they don't really support homophobia at all. In many countries, there's extreme penalties for it. In others, it's looked down and frowned upon. So you combine the billions of Muslim people who a majority of them don't like LGBT. They're not obsessively LGBT like liberals. Combine them with Christianity, which is, you know, the two biggest religions as far as I know. That's about half of the world, just to be quite frank. And I know that there's a lot of Christians now that support LGBT, but you could say 25 to 50% of the world doesn't agree with homophobes or homosexuals or whatever you want to say. I'm not saying I feel that way. I'm just letting you know there needs to be a conversation here because they're acting like it's this unpopular opinion. You want to say Louis Farrakhan's a homophobe. Him and billions of Muslims feel that way, and him and, to be honest, billions of Christians feel that way. They're very similar, at least with that. So let's have a conversation. That's all I'm saying. Don't just call you can't shut down half the world. There needs to be a conversation, and I think it's okay to have a conversation. Last night, I'll give you an example. Last night I did a walkaway town hall with Brandon Straka, who's a conservative gay man, really great guy, and I was with Jesse Lee Peterson, who's a black Christian conservative. And a liberal on Twitter hit me up today and said, how is this for tolerant conservatives? And it was Jesse Lee Peterson, I guess, saying that homosexuals had a problem or they were mentally ill, not fit to have a family or whatever. And here's the thing. I did an event with both of them last night. Jesse Lee Peterson, who maybe feels that way, and Brandon Straka, and no one cared. Like, Brandon didn't care. He booked Jesse Lee for the event. If you're not so soft, who cares what Jesse Lee or billions of Christians think? If that's how you feel. If someone says anomaly, another example, just to try to figure, anomaly, you know, porn is bad, don't watch porn, you're mentally ill if you watch porn. I'm not like, censor them, silence them, shut them down, ban them, get them out of my sight, they can't say that. I'll be like, okay, I'll consider that, I'll look into information and I'll make a decision for myself. Who cares? Like, it's so annoying. Half of the world, or 25% to 50% of the world, doesn't agree with gayness. And they don't have to. So it's like, I don't understand this. He's a homophobe and he needs to be silenced. So are a lot of people. So have a conversation about it. Let's get to the bottom of it. Why not have a gay, confident man and somebody like a Jesse Lee Peterson have a debate about homosexuals and say, this is why I think I am very mentally stable and ready to raise a family. And Jesse Lee could say, this is why I think you're not. And I think it's a sin. Who cares? Like, it's so annoying. These people are so... All right, and then the second thing when it comes to Farrakhan is, you know, they say it's his anti-Semitism, and I'm going to do a deep dive into that later because I have a problem. When you call everything racist, sexist, and xenophobic, it doesn't stop racism. It actually makes people more racist and sexist and xenophobic because they start to really hate you. They start to have a lot of hate in their hearts. To reference my friend Jesse Lee Peterson again, he said a lot of these, white nationalist, white supremacist attacks, this is Jesse Lee's perspective, is that mainstream media, mostly liberal media, and even some conservatives now, but mostly liberal, they're nonstop hating on white people and treating them bad, so you're making them angry and mad and upset, and then you're like, why did one do that? I don't get angry, mad, and upset because I'm not going to be controlled by the liberal media. I'm not going to let that restore my peace. But not everybody can get through it. So you're actually emboldening the extremists. You're like, why are there so many angry white people? Because are you not purposely trying to piss off white males every single day of your life? If you're not, you're confusing me. So I'm not justifying that at all. I want it to stop. There's no excuse for violence. There's no excuse for hatred to a specific community or religion. However, you're not helping the cause. That's all I'm saying. And same thing with anti-Semitism and Farrakhan. And I'm going to get into this last guy too I just learned about. I do think there are people who hate all Jews. I do think that there are people who discriminate and can't have a rational conversation about Judaism. I think it's very real. I've seen it. However, calling everything anti-Semitic is not a good strategy to stop anti-Semitism. It's actually emboldening a lot of people to be disdainful towards Jewish people. And I have enough Jewish friends to know that there's individuals, it's not a monolith. There's different types of people in the Jewish community who feel different ways politically, socially. That's all cool. But there does seem to be this growing trend where with Farrakhan, I don't agree with a lot of things he says. I don't think he's appreciative of America. I think I want America to be great. I think Farrakhan, to be quite honest, I've listened to him enough, I think he wants America to collapse, and I don't agree with him there. However, a lot of the stuff he says, they'll say, you're anti-Semitic. He talks about the synagogue of Satan, and they say that's anti-Semitic. It's actually a Bible verse. So you have Christians who are calling him anti-Semitic. He says, certain things where people just don't even want to have a conversation. So I'm not saying that everything he says is perfect. I'm not saying that certain things he's saying isn't hateful. I think some things are. However, when you call everything anti-Semitic, it doesn't actually stop anti-Semitism. It raises it because you're not able to have a conversation about Judaism. I'm going to get into that later. And also with Farrakhan banning him from the platform, you think the Nation of Islam's just going to pack it in? They're going to be like, oh, well, we got banned from Facebook and Instagram, so let's just pack it in. We're not going to be part of the Nation of Islam anymore. It doesn't work that way. You're only emboldening them. That's why you have a lot of people bugging out, being psychopaths on 8chan and 4chan, which are message boards. It's because you ban them from everywhere, don't allow them to have a conversation, and the hate just keeps building in them. And what I say to them, don't let the hate in your heart build. Never go to violence. Only empowers the enemy. You only make them look better. You only make them in a better light, and you look disgusting, because it is disgusting. So if you really want to beat whoever it is you're trying to fight, whether it's people on 8chan, whether it's extremists in any category, Christian, Jewish, Islam, whatever, you win by loving. You win by being happy. They don't want you to be happy. They don't want you to win. So winning is not getting angry. Winning is not being fearful. Winning is not being hateful. That's how you feed into the enemy. You have to love. You have to be nonviolent, and you have to enjoy your life. That's the true only win, because the world's always going to be crazy, even if you lived in your utopia of what you think it would be. So Farrakhan's been banned. I just want to say, overall, you can say a lot of stuff about Farrakhan. In no way, shape, or form is he right-wing. You can't have Laura Loomer, a Jewish woman, and an anti-Semite. So you have Milo, a gay Jewish man, and Louis Farrakhan in the same far right. So the guy who's anti-Semitic and homophobic next to the guy who's a gay Jew. None of what they're doing makes absolutely no sense. And I want to say we're going to move on to some new people. They also said that they're banning these people. I read this in Verge. They're banning these people, but their message or their ideas can still flourish on Facebook. How does that make any sense at all? So these people are banned because they're dangerous with their ideas, but their ideas are still allowed to be spread by other people. These liberal people who make the laws at these tech companies, there's no consistency. I'm going to get into it in a second, but I would be okay with banning if it made sense and there were violent or dangerous people, but they don't even know their own rules. They don't know their own laws. They don't put them in, to everybody. It doesn't apply to everybody. They're literally like spiraling psychopaths who's emboldening anti-Semitism. They're emboldening the far right. They don't even know what the far right is. They're emboldening the right wing. They're growing all these groups that they think they're stopping, and they're losing elections at record heights, which is pathetic, by the way. I just did a little study. I get more views than CNN does online. Someone told me that last night. Guys, the whole Google is rigged towards CNN. The entire Google and YouTube is rigged towards them, and they can't even get as many views as people like me and Tim Pool. These people are grade A losers, and I don't say that to be mean. It's like there's winners and there's losers. Guys, you're becoming huge losers, and I don't want you to keep losing. So if you want to beat Donald Trump and the right wing and the far right, listen to like 1/20th of what I'm saying and apply it to your life, because your psychology is a 180. I almost think that you're purposely trying to embolden the right wing. If I didn't know any better, I would think that liberals involved in tech companies are operatives trying to embolden white supremacy, trying to embolden the far right, trying to embolden the right wing and get Donald Trump elected a second term. I'm almost convinced that they're purposely doing this. Either they're like the stupidest, goofiest, most confused people in the world, or they're legit operatives trying to make Donald Trump and far, far right more powerful. I can't figure out what you guys are doing. Let's talk about Laura Loomer for a second. So she got banned. I want to say this. I've met Laura Loomer in person. I really like her as a person. She's a sweetheart. She's a great young woman. But I do have to say with her, I don't agree with her breaking into people's houses. I just want to get that out of the way. I like her as a person. I really do. I'm not trying to talk bad about her, but like, I don't agree with crime. And if you start, like, she broke into Gavin Newsom's house and she's like projecting things onto Jack's house, according to reports. I don't know if that really happened. Look it up, because I don't want to lie. But it's like, stop committing crimes. That's my thing. If you want to do that, that's one thing. I get that people, you know, have their own methods, and I'm not trying to knock on her method because it's been effective in some ways, I guess. But I don't agree with crime, and I think once you commit crimes like breaking onto somebody's property, now you're opening the door to get banned and to get scrutinized. So I'm not a big fan of that, to be quite honest. However, I did stand up for her when she got banned on Twitter, because what she said on Twitter about Ilhan Omar, just to be quite honest, was a straight fact. Just like I say when Farrakhan and Ilhan Omar say stuff, I'm like, all right, that stuff is wrong, that stuff is a lie, that stuff's not that bad, you guys are exaggerating. I'll do it both ways, and people get bothered. But with Laura Loomer, her Twitter tweet that got her banned, nothing about it was really wrong or inaccurate. It was a total fact/opinion. She got banned on Twitter, unrightfully. I don't really agree with her Facebook and Instagram banner, but I would say that I don't agree with you know, committing crimes. I think that's a bad look if you're trying to not get banned from social media. However, I do want to say there's a lot of groups who commit crimes and do crazy stuff, and they never get banned. So once again, if you're going to have these crazy laws of this and that and the other, apply them all the way around. Occupy Democrats, who actually have posted my video a few years ago. The owner reached out to me because I had a nice little poem that they liked. They posted a meme that suggested that Donald Trump should be assassinated, and it's so hilarious that he would be assassinated. It got like 13,000 shares. Why are they not banned? Do you feel what I'm saying? If you're going to ban Laura Loomer for literally doing like a low-level crime that's really not even that serious, although I don't agree with it, you're going to let other people threaten people, and that's not hate speech to say that you want the president to be assassinated. These people don't care about their own policies. They only want to win elections, but they're such pathetic, at this point I would say, to be quite nice, psychopaths. You're emboldening all these groups that you want to. I want to stop anti-Semitism. I want to stop hate. I want to stop the far right from expanding. The fake far right that you guys have created, not the real anarchy far right that's really not that bad. I'm talking about it's anti-Semites, it's Louis Farrakhan, it's Jews, it's the people who hate Jews, it's gays, it's people who hate gays. You don't even know. It's like you guys are like rattled snow globes. You're like, oh, like take a week, calm down, come back to Facebook, and then we could talk about fighting all these ideologies. But we can't do it when you don't even know what you're fighting. You're like punching yourself in the face, and you're like, why am I bruised? Why am I bruising? Was it the anti-Semites? Was it the gay Jews? Who did this to me? It's like, it's all you. You guys suck. You lost the election. You lost to the far right. You're losing to the right wing all over the world. You're losing millions of people. You lost in Brazil. You're losing all over Canada. You're starting to lose in Spain. You're starting to lose hold of Europe. It's all you. Take a break, psychotech liberals. And with all due love and respect, thank you so much for monetizing my Facebook. I've been doing very well. Nothing I say is hateful. Nothing I say is ignorant or horrible. It's all basic common sense. It's all tough unpolitically correct truths to help everybody. I don't want gay people to get hurt. So if you love gay people so much, maybe try to figure out that the one ideology that Laura Loomer can't talk about Islam. Milo can't, Paul Joseph Watson can't talk about Islam. Okay, well, have you looked into Islamic countries? Because a lot of them don't treat gays very well. Did you go that far, liberals, or no? Did you not get to that part? We hate Christians for hating gays so much, but we don't even know that in Islamic countries, they feel the same way as Christians, if not stronger. And I'm not knocking Islam. They're allowed to feel that way. I'm just saying, liberals, hello, lunatics, you're not making any sense. Why are the gays being, because it's just so bananas. So anyway, with Laura Loomer, I don't agree with the ban, but as a friend, it's up to her. I'm not her parents, but yeah, I don't like the crimes part, but she got kicked off Twitter unrightfully, and they don't actually, if you're gonna ban Laura Loomer, which you shouldn't, why not ban everybody else committing stuff? They have no consistency. Let's go on to Paul Joseph Watson. This, by far, in my personal perspective, is the biggest reach of all. Out of everybody that they banned, Paul Joseph Watson is the biggest reach, because Paul Joseph Watson, first of all, is very comedic. So I'm a big fan of comedy. I like dark comedy. I like light comedy. I think the great thing about comedy is free speech rules via comedy, and it doesn't matter what you say. I mean, yeah, of course there's certain things you don't want to say, but in comedy, really, who cares? It's like, say it, I can agree or disagree, I could laugh or not think it's funny. That's on you, then you look foolish. If you make a dumb joke, that's mean. But Paul Joseph Watson, not only is he comedic, but if you watch all his videos, it's hard to really disagree with anything he says. Like, I'm not saying anything, but he definitely can be a little bit snarky and a little bit mean sometimes, but that's what comedy is. I don't know. It's like, why did he get banned? Why do I think, or why do I know? It's because he's affiliated with Infowars, and the media hates Infowars. So they took down Alex Jones, they took down Infowars today, and they're just saying, well, Paul Joseph's a part of Infowars, let's take him. Put Paul Joseph Watson's best 15 videos against the best CNN videos, or MSNBC videos, or even Fox News videos. The best of Paul Joseph Watson is better than anybody on television. He's, in my opinion, the only one even close to him on television is Tucker Carlson. The rest of them are just subpar, decent at best in my perspective. So it's like modern day book burning and exiling. It's no different from, well, it's a little different obviously, but from Socrates to Jesus Christ to anybody in history, anybody smart, anybody, honest, anybody funny, anybody going against the grain, they can't figure out how to beat you. They don't know how to have an intellectual discussion with Paul Joseph Watson. He's not that bad at all. I mean, he could be a little mean sometimes, but it's okay. We'll get over it. He's no less, the mainstream media, when I watch CNN, MSNBC, and I look at the Occupy Democrats or all these pages, they're 20 times as mean as Paul Joseph Watson. And I'm not saying to ban them. First of all, yes, they should delete any assassination jokes. Just like if a right-winger says Ilhan Omar should die, delete it, then block them. Block that post, suspend them for a few days. I think threats should absolutely get you a suspension or a banning. I'm just going to be honest, I don't agree with that. However, they don't do that, and then they're like, well, Paul Joseph Watson's mean because he's hilarious and I can't figure out how to... That's what they do in history. You take the IQs. Take the IQs of every single person they banned today. I guarantee you that they're higher than the people who banned them. And that's how it goes. Well, I'm not as smart as you, and I'm not as funny as you, and I'm not as successful as you, and nobody likes me like they like you, and I don't know how to get a big crowd like you do, and I don't know how to get followers, and I don't know why you feel that way about the gays, so I'm just going to ban you, and I'm going to pat myself on back and say, look, I stop extremism because I banned smarter people than me. It doesn't stop extremism. It doesn't stop anything. It emboldens all of these groups. They're growing, they're rising, they're flourishing, they're getting more mad. I don't want them to. I don't believe in hate and anger and negativity at all. Very clear. But Paul Joseph Watson's such a reach. It's such a shame that they banned him. It's pathetic, honestly. And they think that this is going to win them the election. That's why they want to do it. Well, if we get rid of Paul... Guys, Paul Joseph Watson criticizes and showcases how a certain religion doesn't like gay people more than Christians don't. And even Islamic people watch that and be like, yeah, it's right. It's like when I talk about Judaism or Jews, like a lot of Jews will be like, yeah, Anomaly's right. He's not lying. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm trying to help Jewish people from psycho-awful Jewish people and psycho-awful liberals who aren't Jewish pretending to be or whatever. I don't even know what they're doing anymore. But it's like people know I'm not lying. So it's like liberals are like, we're going to stop homophobia by getting rid of Paul Joseph Watson, who's explaining how the gays don't get treated well in these countries. It's like, guys, you're so stupid. It's so amazing that they could run big platforms like this and be this low level. And someone said I look like Cat Stevens. I am Cat Stevens. Welcome back, boys. All right, that's enough about Paul Joseph Watson. Biggest reach by far out of all of these people. Such a shame. And if you're going to do it to Paul Joseph Watson, I'm not even going to say that because that's what people said earlier. Banned? Why is Farrakhan not banned? Why is Farrakhan not banned? Well, guess what? Now Farrakhan is banned, and now Paul Joseph Watson's banned, and now all these other people are banned. It's a path you don't want to go down. Someone said, you'll be next. I'm sure I'm somewhere down the I'm going to tell you a funny story before I get into my other video. So it's not, well, it is funny, actually. So, sorry. I'm like, can I say this is funny? Are people going to get mad? So I tweeted something. I tweeted to Donald Trump. He made a tweet saying Herman Cain wasn't going to run for the Federal Reserve. And I tweeted my I Like Trump song, and I said, Donald Trump, like, you got to take over the Federal Reserve or something. I said something like that. And this Jewish writer for the Jewish Voice, Harry something, he retweeted me and said, oh, this is anti-Semitic, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, guy, it's a joke song. I was like, how's that anti-Semitic? And then he pulls up my other tweet and he's like, well, what about this one? And I said, in the tweet, I said, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which is an awful anti-free speech organization that now even attacks Jews because they're so psycho. They're like, we're standing up for anti-Semitism by taking down strong Jewish people. It's like, wow, way to go, ADL. You're real winners over there. But so I said the ADL was founded the same year as the Federal Reserve, which is just a fact. And I said, isn't that interesting? Because just to be honest, I like to research everyone. I'm like, isn't that interesting? He's like, well, this is anti-Semitic. And I'm like, guy, this is a fact. And thank you to my good Jewish friends I had like 6 Jewish people come to my defense. Because like people get dicey with anti-Semitism. And they're like, Anomaly's not anti-Semitic. I was like, all right, thank you guys. I appreciate the good Jews of the world. I'll protect you. I'll defend you from real anti-Semitism. So they started coming to our defense, and he tried to frame me as anti-Semitic. I was like, great, now I have blue check mark writers. So a week later, we chatted. He ended up being cool to me. He got fired from the Jewish Voice like yesterday because Laura Loomer, according to him, Laura Loomer got him fired because he reported on Laura Loomer's event and she didn't like it, according to him, and got him fired from his publication. So he's attacking me, all this anti-Semitism stuff, and then he ends up getting kicked out of his Jewish journalist group by a Jew. The karma and the hilariousness to that is just too funny for my personal view. However, I don't like to laugh. I'm not going to say coding, go code or something. That's mean, and that'll get me suspended for sure. Maybe I'll have him on my debate platform. We talked about it. I'm not laughing at the fact that he got fired. I just think it's funny. He's all worried about me, and then he gets taken down by his own people from his own organization. So just don't exaggerate with this stuff. I just want to say it's getting a little annoying. On to the next person. I had to research this guy because I didn't even know who he was. Paul Nealon. So Paul Nealon, I guess he ran as a Republican. Literally never heard about him before today. I looked at his Wikipedia. So on Wikipedia, they said Paul Nealon, who got suspended from Facebook and Twitter today, is a white supremacist, neo-Nazi political candidate. So this guy's a neo-Nazi white supremacist. So I go to his Wikipedia and I look at the stuff. I'm like, man, and maybe the guy is. I have no idea. I didn't research enough into him. I just read some stuff. There was some concerning stuff that he's done, but I just want to read how ridiculous Wikipedia or the media, and this is left and right media, they said his views. He's got white nationalist memes. So he had a lot of white nationalist memes, and he pushed for anti-censorship, and he frequently used the slogan, "It's okay to be white." So I'm just saying, with Donald Trump, to liberals, I always say, if Donald Trump is this big, bad, bully boy, why do you have to make up so much stuff? Like, if he's really this awful, why do you have to lie every day? Can't you just focus on the terrible things that Donald Trump has said and done and just stick to those? And same with, like, Ilhan Omar. I'm very fair about it. If she's so bad, why do you have to lie so much? You shouldn't have to exaggerate. It's not a good look. You shouldn't play the game, well, the left does it to us, so we want to take down theirs. And guys, that's not the truth to me. lead with the truth, lead with light, lead with the confident truth, and you'll win every time. If you start lying to achieve your goal of the truth, you'll end up being like the liberals. Well, I can lie every day because I'm trying to help kids at the border. It's like, no, you become a narcissist psychopath when you do that. So don't do that. So my question to Wikipedia and whoever wrote this, whoever they are, if this guy is awful, why in the world did you include that he frequently used the slogan, "It's okay to be white"? He should have a bucket load of horrible things. That's the big scoop you got on this guy? Well, he says it's okay to be white, so that shouldn't even be in his Wikipedia. It's so goofy. So I read, he's done a lot of stuff. He said on Jews. So this guy's a big anti-Semite, according to Wikipedia. He suggested to Ari Cohn, I don't know how to say it, who I have no idea who that is. He said to fill a Jesus-shaped hole in him, which, in my personal opinion, just to be honest, Christians have said this to me quite a few times, not specifically with those wordings. So if a Christian says to me, you need Jesus, you need to fill your heart with Jesus, you're not going to heaven without Jesus. Anomaly, you need Jesus, you need to be Christian, you need to be that. It's not anti whatever I am. It's not, you get what I'm saying? People are getting really tired. Christians are getting tired of it. Catholics are getting tired of it. Right-wingers are getting tired of it. Left-wingers are getting tired of it. The double standards and hypocrisy, not just from the left of the racism, sexism, xenophobia, and the censorship, but also with the anti-Semitism talk. It's getting a little ridiculous, where if you're going to put a whole thing about what this guy has done, and I'm sure he's done a lot, you shouldn't have to include the fact that he said, fill a Jesus-shaped hole in your heart. Because he said that to a Jew? Oh my God, that's anti-Semitism. Guys, Christians say that to me all the time. There's Christians who march around just screaming, Jesus will save you. You're going to hell without Jesus. I don't agree with that tactic, but to include that in his Wikipedia, that's the big bad statement he's done. I don't agree with that method, but it's guys, get a grip. And then another part that they included in this, and there's other bad parts. I want to explain this stuff because it goes hand in hand with everything else I'm saying, and it's important for people to understand to really stop anti-Semitism. So this was also under that section in Wikipedia. It said, in his text sent to the Washington Post, I reject being called a white supremacist because clearly pro-white isn't white supremacy unless pro-Jewish is Jewish supremacy. So the Washington Post was mad about this. I'm going to read this. This is a text he sent to Washington Post. I reject being called a white supremacist because clearly pro-white isn't white supremacy unless pro-Jewish is Jewish supremacy. And this is actually emboldening the far right. This is emboldening extremists, and this is emboldening the anti-Zionist or anti-Jewish crowd, which in my opinion are different. I think there's a difference between criticism of Israel and disdain. I just watched a video yesterday of this Jewish dude with curls, the whole nine. He's anti-Zionist. Is he anti-Semitic? Is Laura Loomer who can we be honest and specific about this, or are we just going to call everybody it? So what he was saying is a point that a lot of people are trying to bring up, and nobody wants to have these tough discussions, but a lot of white people are starting to wonder, how come if I say it's okay to be white, I'm not allowed to say that? They'll include it in my Wikipedia and call me a white supremacist. But if a Jewish person says I'm pro-Jew, that's totally fine. If a black person says I'm pro-black, that's totally fine. You can't, not only can you not say you're pro-white, which to be honest, I can't say that's my thing. I'm not yeah, I'm pro-white. I'm Italian, Puerto Rican, Polish, Czechoslovakian, I think, and I'm not that attached to it, but if you are, to each their own. If you're white or black or Hispanic, and because some people will yell at me, Anomaly, you're not pro-white enough. You're a fake Puerto Rican. Do you? I'm not shutting you down. I'm just letting you, if you want to be that guy, that's your life. I don't have this deep-rooted attachment to that, so it's not a big deal to me. However, I do see the hypocrisy when you can't even say it's okay to be white and you're called a white supremacist, but you're allowed to be pro anything else and nobody cares about it. It's actually increasing anti-Semitism quite a bit. I've had discussions. I have a lot of Jewish friends, so many so actually, that anti-Zionists are pressuring me as well. I'm not only getting yelled at by Jewish journalists who are totally wrong, but I'm actually getting yelled at by the opposition, the anti-Zionist crowd. Anomaly, why do you have so many Zionist friends? Why are you friends with Roseanne? Why do all the conservatives love you? Why are half your friends Jewish? I don't know. They're awesome people, and I don't care that it's not a thing to me. I'm not gonna disabandon a whole religion. I have Muslim friends, sorry guys, and I'll sit and eat dinner with them because I like them as people. So I get pressured by both sides. However, I've talked to a lot of Jewish people. I have a lot of Jewish friends, and it seems like in the Jewish world, in Israel and in others, Jewish people are very proud of their heritage. There's a lot of Jewish people, not all, obviously, but I would say a bigger percentage of Jewish people who are Jewish supremacists than there are white supremacists. I think if you take the population of the Jewish people and say how many people of them think Jewish people are better than other races, and you take a percentage of white people and say how many white people think white people are better than other races, I guarantee you the people who think Jewish people are better is a bigger percentage than it is in the white community. I'm just going to say it. So a lot of white people and a lot of others are getting fed up with the fact that they're called all these crazy names and anti-Semitic for doing less than what Jewish people do in their own place. And there's Washington Post articles, guys, and the difference between me and all these other people, I don't really care. Like, when Farrakhan says he wants to segregate, I don't care. Like when Jesse Lee says that, he thinks gay people aren't fit to raise families, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm not like, oh my God, Louis Farrakhan feels that way and it makes me mad. Or if Jewish people think I'm better because I'm Jewish, that's fine. Like maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I don't know. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like people are like, well, Jewish people, they love themselves and they have good families and they learn a lot and they actually learn business at a young age. Like, oh, wow, that sounds terrible. Like maybe other people should take notes. I don't know. I'm not that mad at it. Anyway, it's like people can't handle these conversations. You want to shut Farrakhan down. You want to shut Milo Yiannopoulos down, who's Jewish. You want to shut Laura Loomer down. You want to shut Paul Joseph Watson down. I don't see how that's going to stop anti-Semitism. I don't see how that's going to stop Islamophobia. I don't see how that's going to stop any of these movements that they think that they're going to stop, whether it be right-wing people calling everyone anti-Semitic or left-wing people calling everybody everything. I don't see how it's going to stop any of these fringe groups. I only think it's going to embolden it, and that's why I say these things, because I don't want to do it. I read a Washington Post article, I've mentioned it one time a few months ago, where they were explaining how there were Jewish people in the South who were flying out other Jewish people to make babies with because they wanted only Jewish babies. You have people like Ben Shapiro, who I've supported a lot and I've said a lot of good things about. He says Judeo-Christian all the time, but he told Dave Rubin, I saw the clip, that he wouldn't go to his wedding because Dave Rubin was marrying a non-Jew. I don't care. I'm not knocking Ben Shapiro's religion. I think he has the right to feel that way. I have no problem with it. However, you get what I'm saying? It's like, so they can fly people out and have babies with their own people, and that's totally Washington Post approve worthy. Nothing weird about that. But meanwhile, the same publications are saying babies in America are declining and they need more immigrants. So it's like the hypocrisy is really starting to build and grow, and a lot of conservatives are starting to see it. A lot of even progressives and liberals are starting to see it and shift to, the more sane right. And the reason I have these tough conversations, I'm not justifying what Paul Nealon did. I have no idea what he's done. There were some other Wikipedia stuff that was alarming, although I didn't get enough time to research it. I'm not making excuses for any of these people. Farrakhan, Paul Joseph Watson, Laura Loomer, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Paul Nealon. I personally believe in the law of attraction. I'm not saying maybe they'll try to ban me at some point, but I think you sometimes get the energy you give, and you can't please everyone. But a lot of these people, although I've defended their right to speak, I think, Farrakhan, Paul Joseph, Laura Loomer, Milo, Paul, whatever the guy's name is, Infowars, they don't speak like I speak. And I'm not hating on how they talk, but I don't talk like that, and I wouldn't talk like that. And it's not because I don't want to, or Paul Joseph's a different story. I think he's hilarious. But with all the other ones, it's like that's not my vibe. And I do think at a certain point, it's not healthy, even if you have the right views. Like I said, Paul's funny and he's on point, but a lot of these other people, even if I agree with what you're saying, I don't agree with how you're saying it. I don't agree. I think it's like different sides just punching each other. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. And I don't agree with that. However, I do think with all of this censorship and all of this condemnation is getting insane. I've talked to so many people of so many different perspectives, races, religions, genders, not to pander, you name it, it's just true. But I'm learning about the past, I'm learning about now, I'm learning about the 70s and 60s and 80s and 90s, and everybody that's older seems to say, from Jesse Lee Peterson, who grew up on a plantation, to celebrities to white people to others and Jewish people. It's never been this divided. It's never been this crazy. Censorship has never been this high. And you could say what you want about progress we've made. It's very real. We've made a lot of progress. But we're also going backwards in a lot of categories. And it's because of this type of stuff. You don't stop anti-Semitism by calling everything anti-Semitic and not allowing people to do what you allow your own people to do. You don't stop racism by calling everybody racist and telling certain communities that they're above self-accountability. Nothing they do is wrong, while you're pumping certain communities with an awful mindset. I talked to a Hispanic girl last night in high school, came out to the event I was at. She said, Anomaly, I love your videos. And she asked me about the mindset in her own community. And she said, there's a lot of gangbangers in my school. And these are kids. You know, you talk about liking Hispanics and separating kids at the borders. I'm talking to these kids that are saying, Anomaly, all of the kids in my school think gangbanging's cool. I hate to break it to you guys, but that mentality is being pumped into their communities, not just by the elites who run these operations, but also by the black community themselves, that they claim that they're fighting oppression while they're pumping their own communities with a message of murder, drugs, pills, and things that'll end you up dead or in jail. And I don't want to see and the good kids in those communities have to deal with that stuff. Violence, crime, murder, and it has a lot more to do with white people are bad. There's a mindset that was pumped into that community, the black and Hispanic community and the white community in America and others, whatever, Jewish, you name it, a message that actually is a self-destructive ideology. So the point I'm getting at is you can't continuously say you're fighting racism and sexism and xenophobia and saying women are above the law, women are above. When you talk to women, they don't even buy this crap. Women are like, some of the women I know are the most deceptive, sneaky, dishonest, and obviously not all women. Some men are just the same. They're just like women. But, like, you think anybody's buying this? All women are the perfect species, and they are beautiful, but it's like they never would lie and believe them over the judge and the court of law, and men, every woman would never lie to a man. No one believes this crap, guy. Like, you think this is helping women? Oh, what? The women, there's no rape now because the women's will never lie. Like, this is so foolish. So you're not helping women. You're not helping racial communities when you allow these double standards and hypocrisy and censorship. And to be quite honest, you're calling all these people far right. It's not only emboldening the far right, which now we don't even know. What is the far right? Is it the Muslim who hates gays and Jews? Or is it the Jew who is gay? You see, well, it's the far right's the Louis Farrakhan, the Muslim guy who talks about the Jews and the gays, and then it's also the gay Jew. I'm sorry. There's a big difference between Nation of Islam and Milo Yiannopoulos. They're very, very different. I'm sure they'd have a great discussion, though. Louis Farrakhan and Alex Jones had a tremendous discussion. It was actually awesome. Look that up on YouTube before it gets taken down. And also, look up Louis Farrakhan on CNN talking to Mike Wallace. Very great interview, whatever you want to say about it. That's back when CNN actually did journalism, and they actually talked to people and did, like, exposés on who they were trying to be, rather than, like, they're the bad man. Like, it's so awful. Look up Milo. Look up Milo on YouTube, on MSNBC, another great video. Milo talking to MSNBC before Trump won. So funny. I showed it to a liberal girl one time, and I was like, check this out. And I just showed her the MSNBC clip of Milo Yiannopoulos, and she was like laughing. She was like, wow, he's so smart. He's hilarious. And I was like, they call him a far-right Nazi, even though he's Jewish, and he's getting banned from platforms. And she was like, why? I don't get it. I was like, because they're psychos. Like, literally. Like, and even on that, Milo's saying all this stuff, and they're like, do you think President Donald Trump could possibly be in the White House? And like, they're like, you watch these shows, like even Morning Joe, another good one. I'm just dropping gems. Watch Morning Joe, Howard Schultz on Morning Joe, another Jewish person who's more left-leaning, who will probably get called far-right soon because he's actually normal and has a brain. I like that guy, Howard Schultz. But he's like explaining why he doesn't like the Democratic Party. He's like, you guys have gone too far. I don't agree with this tax stuff. And they're like, what? Why don't you run with us. And he's like, because I don't like you. I don't want to be with you. They're like, but run as a Democrat. He's like, I don't want to be around Democrats. And they're like, the programming is, they're like, someone get the intelligence communities in here to push the programming stronger. We need musicians. We need artists. We need celebrities. Holy sharks, guys. So listen to these people. And even Paul Joseph Watson, that's just ridiculous. I show liberals all the time. I show them the soy boy video. I've showed a lot of people. I've showed my family. I've showed like people who don't even like conservatives. The soy boy Paul Joseph video. Everybody thinks it's hilarious. You don't have to agree. Like, show it to a vegan who eats soy. Who cares? Like, who cares, guys? It's so. I eat soy and I eat soy. And he said there's soy. Who can? You can eat soy and not agree with the video and move on with your life. Why don't you make a video why you eat soy and what a good boy you are and how you're not a bad soy boy, you're a good soy boy, and like, who cares? I don't get it. Like, someone could say to me, Anomaly, you're part Puerto Rican and you're disgusting because you're part Puerto Rican. Like, is that, I can't imagine being mad at that. I don't like real extremists who are like, you know, going full psycho. But if someone's like, Anomaly, you're disgusting because you're not fully white, I would think it's hilarious. Like, or Anomaly, you're disgusting because you're too much white. You have too much white in you. Or like, Anomaly, you're an Italian, you know, you're an Italian meatball. Or like, you know, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine hearing that and being like, I need to run to the ADL and tell my teacher to like, I don't know. It just doesn't bother me that much. I don't get it. And let alone that's actually kind of mean, saying that I'm not like subhuman or something. But I think it's funny. Anyway, imagine saying that talking about AIPAC is anti-Semitic, because that's what conservatives are doing now. Sorry, you guys, she can't talk about AIPAC. Well, why? And they're trying. Oh, okay, all right. Well, Louis Farrakhan can't talk about gay people at all. Okay, I can't lie. I'm just gonna be honest, guys. I like listening to Farrakhan because I just find it either he's very enlightening. There's certain things he'll tell. He's taught me more about the Bible than some Christians have, just to be honest. He's always referencing the Bible. But also, it's like, if I disagree with it, I don't cry about it. I'm like, I don't agree with that. Or he'll be like, I want America to perish. I'll be like, don't do this, Farrakhan. Why do you want my country to perish? I would rather have a conversation with him. What I would say to Farrakhan, first of all, we'd have a nice little sit down. We talk about the wars. But I would say, like, Farrakhan is actually part white. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I watched a CNN interview, and Farrakhan is white. So it's like, you know, you gotta love your own people. You're part white. Maybe that made you who you were. You're the little white part in you. You know, I try to have fun with it. And same with like Milo. Milo, who cares? Like, what? I don't understand what part of, like, he's like trolly. He'll say something mean. I think he said Leslie Jones is like a man or something, or like, I don't know exactly what he said, but it's almost like it makes people so mad that it almost makes it funnier to me. Like, I never used to do gay jokes. I never thought gay jokes were funny. I thought they were mean. But now I'm starting to think they're funnier because people are so like taboo by it. Like, when you were a kid, you used to say something, it wasn't even mean, and everyone would laugh or do whatever. Now there's grown adults. You'll say something, just be like, say something about it, and they'll be they're like looking around. I'm like, guys, I don't actually hate gay people. I like gay people. I just think it's funny to say. I don't know. I don't get what's going on. I'm more concerned with threats. I'm more concerned with violence. I'm more concerned with stopping these things. But apparently liberals and conservatives sometimes are going to just call everything racist, sexist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, not be able to have a discussion, pander to psycho people who are in their feelings so much that they literally can't tell up from down, left from right. Like, I don't know. I want to put... This is my dream. I have a dream like Martin Luther. I don't want to ban Louis Farrakhan. I don't want to ban Paul Joseph Watson. I want to put Louis Farrakhan in a room with the best Jew. What's wrong with that? That's my dream. That's why I've made Make America Debate Again. Somebody give me a television show. I've been talking about this for 2 years. Nobody wants to do it because it's hilarious and would actually help. But like, put Louis Farrakhan with the realest Jew. How awesome. Wouldn't that be fun, guys? Like, top Jew versus Louis Farrakhan. Like, you know, that's a win. And then you could put their ideas to the test and tell who's telling the truth. Like, I wanna put Paul Joseph Watson up against what's his name? Brian Stelter or Chris Cuomo or whatever Cuomo. What are they? Politicians, they're news analysts. Put them up together. Put Laura Loomer together with like an angry Muslim. That might get bad. You might need security for that. But like Laura Loomer with like an angry Muslim, that's better than any show on television. Who else we got? Milo Yiannopoulos. Put him on with Farrakhan. That's a good one. How has no one done this before? Milo Yiannopoulos and Farrakhan. So you have the right-wing, gay Jewish guy with the anti-Semitic, homophobic, Islamic guy, and the gay Jewish guy always talks about Islam. That's it, guys. Put Farrakhan and Milo in the same room. That's classic comedy. And I don't know. I'm over it already. So Farrakhan and Shapiro, yeah, that's a total win. That's what I want to see. I don't want to bet because I want to see who makes good points. I like listening to everyone be like, that's true, that's not true, that's true, that's not true. I don't have that much hate in my heart. And also, just to sum it up, guys, I don't agree with these bannings. And also, who knows? Maybe I'll be next, even though I'm calm and peaceful. It would be a real bad look, but they'll probably take something I've said out of context, which is a lot of stuff. I don't want to get into it now because then they'll literally take it out of context. But certain things are just funny in my mind. All right, I'll say it on this one again. I personally, with Farrakhan and all these like white supremacists, I think you should let them have a space. And I don't want to go there. Don't get me wrong, but you take all those people with Farrakhan to the black ethno state. You take all the angry people on HN and all the white people. It would be like I think it would be like a worse version of Utah. And you put them all somewhere, and then I bet extremism and crime would go down, just to be quite honest, because you got all the pissed off people who want to live amongst each other, and then we could all live peacefully in harmony. We'd have all the best people of every race, religion, and gender. We'd be great. We'd have normal laws. Maybe even like give liberals, maybe that's going to be California in 10 years, but it's like, let everyone do their thing in their own state and see how it works out. Like, experiment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at Europe and I'm like, well, that's not working out as well. But if you think it is working out, you can move to Europe. Like, that's the dope part about the world. I don't agree with this little, like, globalism where they're like, we're going to make everyone exactly the same. We're going to put the Muslims with the gays. We're going to have the gay liberals with the Muslims who don't like the gay. Like, I don't like that. I'm like, and I'm not a segregationist. I just, in my own mind, I feel like it's a Chappelle Show skit. I just think it would be funny to let them have their ethno states and then see if it worked out. And then I feel like the people that it would attract were people that I wouldn't want to hang out with that much. Like, there'd be no clubs and bars at all, probably in the white ethno state. The black ethno state, they'd all be angry, and they could figure out if it's truly the mindset or it was white people that were the problem. Everyone wins, you know? I just think it would be absolutely hilarious. There's a Comedy Central skit that's actually funny. Since you guys aren't funny anymore, maybe steal my idea and make a funny skit. I don't know. Maybe it'll get you kicked off the network. But anyway, all jokes aside, I don't agree with the bannings. Let people speak, and I'm sure that I'm somewhere down this totem pole because I'm hilarious and honest and calm, and they can't stand that. But just to sum it up, in order, I'm going to say this one more time because if you don't take anything, this is what they do. They listen to like a great speech, and then they're like, let me look for one part I could take out of context and freak out about. Listen to what I'm actually saying. If you don't take anything, take this. Calling everything racist doesn't stop racism. It just doesn't. Calling everything anti-Semitic actually increases anti-Semitism, and I don't like that. Calling everything sexist and saying that all women should be believed is just ridiculous. Banning people from platforms isn't going to make the ideology go away. Taking out leaders and taking out people from the discussion who will probably have higher IQs than you, all of these people, and I'm not saying they're all great and their ideology is perfect. I'm just saying, I guarantee you, like, regardless of whether you like Milo or you don't like Milo, you could tell he's kind of a smart guy. It's pretty obvious. But anyway, It's like you can't just book burn and exile people and expect all these programs to go away. Extremism will rise, and you're seeing that in the world now for multiple reasons, and I don't want that to happen. I want to live peacefully where there's not stupid, crazy news all the time that makes me feel bad. I want to see extremism down. I want to see hate down. I don't want to see racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and anti-Christianism, the word I just made to support Christians, anti-atheism, anti-Satanism, or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, it's not going to work. It only makes everything worse. And to liberals, if you don't listen to anything I say, doing what you're doing now, you're emboldening the right wing. You're emboldening the far right wing. No one knows what the far right wing means anymore because you're calling Jewish people Nazis, and we're all very confused. You're losing all over the world. It's not. Spain just had a right. They've never had a far right parliament ever since 1970s, I think, and they did. Alberta, Ontario, Quebec, it's all going right wing. The United States, it's not. Brazil, Europe, it's all shifting right wing. Because you guys are doing it. I'm seriously, I'm not even joking or being sarcastic. I'm at the point now where I'm actually considering, if you're purposely doing this in the mainstream media, to send people towards Donald Trump or the right wing. It's either that or you guys are so delusional and unhinged with cultural Marxism, which now, I'm not even joking, the word cultural Marxism is now being called anti-Semitic in England. They called a right-wing parliament member anti-Semitic for saying cultural Marxism. First of all, bad look, because now you're taking credit for cultural Marxism and nobody even knew it was a Jewish thing. Now you're like, that's anti-Semitic. And you're like, we didn't even say anything about Jewish people. It's like, I'll give you another example. I was watching a video, and there's these guys on YouTube. They're called the Red Elephants, and they got banned on Twitter for posting crime statistics, and they didn't even mention a race. And Twitter took them off. And they're like, well, you're being hateful towards a race. They didn't even name a race. It's projection tactics. You're like, the sky's blue. You're like, he hates the blacks and the gays. And you're like, dude, you said that. I didn't even mention a single race or gender. And you're like, you're taking credit for things that no one even knows you're doing, maybe you're not doing, but you're just so mad about it. Anyway, you get what I'm saying? It's like, this stuff's ridiculous. But anyway, the reason I said that is because the cultural Marxism, which hopefully I'm still allowed to say, is so bad in the United States that they're like so scrambled that you're making everything worse. It's like, I'm going to promote these people and wonder why they're not going down. I'll call everybody right wing and wonder why it's not going away and it's growing in every community. Get a grip, folks, and stop censoring people, because it's going to go down the left, it's going to go down the right, and they're going to suck up everybody who's probably better, funnier, more honest. And at least a lot of these people seem to not, have a different approach, which is fine. I appreciate everyone's, but I'm sure at a certain point, they'll justify taking me out for being calm and hilarious. All right, thank you guys. All jokes aside, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I just thought it was funny. I'm so hilarious. No, anyway, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. My God blessings are open to all races, religions, and genders. I just want to say, and just to let you guys know, I'm identifying as Cat Stevens. I'm also identifying as a lesbian pineapple, because being a light-skinned male in this world is just getting too tough, and there's not enough victim cards for me, and I'm trying to get into college a little bit easier. So I now will identify as either Cat Stevens or lesbian pineapple, and if you say anything about me, it's definitely discriminatory, and I will call the ADL. Thank you, guys. If you'd like to support, I got all my stuff there. If you want to become a Facebook supporter like Donald Gilmore and Emily, that legend, the supporters always stay long. You guys are legendary. Join the Facebook supporters. It's pretty fun. Also, I want to say that, sign up to my free email list. If you don't do anything, please do that, because who knows? They could try to kick me off, but it always backfires. Then people donate more, and, it's like Alex Jones got kicked off and he made more money. Laura Loomer continuously gets kicked off everything. Wait, did she get kicked off Instagram too? I got to figure out how to stay tuned now, because everybody's gone. This is bad stuff, man. They're deplatforming, they're radicalizing, and I don't know. I've said enough already. But sign up to my free email list, and if you'd like to support, that's fine. If not, Anomaly, how dare you post the link when everybody's trying to ban you and censor all your friends? It's like, guys, you don't have to do it. You could literally just turn off the phone. Like, people go, Anomaly, I hate watching you. Just click the off button. It's fine. I might do the same. I'm going to do it right now. All right. Take care, guys. Have a good one.